The title is not really what you think it is. And maybe I should have been more explicit in the title, but I wasn't. But I should have been. Yeah, definitely should have been. Hey y'all, it's Ashley Bookish Realm, and I am back with another video. As you can see by the title, I am here to talk about my experience as a Black booktuber. And I know about the controversy that happened when I was gone. I didn't jump in. I usually do have like my little 2 cents that I say something, but I didn't say anything this time because I had a lot of personal things that I was dealing with, and I just couldn't be so bothered. I just wasn't in the spirit of filming, and I sure as hell was not about to come back and film about someone's statements regarding my experience on BookTube. But that's neither here nor there. There are lots of people who made some really great content in response to what was happening to individuals that consider themselves minorities or people of color that, you know, are having a more difficult experience on BookTube than their counterparts. I would like to say that I definitely am with the masses here. I think it is more difficult. And I'm not here to say that my experience as a Black booktuber hasn't been enjoyable, but it's almost as if I've gotten used to being quote unquote slighted in a sense. So I feel like I work pretty hard on my channel. I don't have the best equipment. Sometimes my content is really great. Sometimes it's, you know, like, it's just chill content, not hyperactive, none of that, which, you know, my personality is just a really chill personality. And it is tough as a creator to put so much into your channel. Like, you get new lighting equipment, you get new video capabilities, editing software, and then there's like no progress on your channel. That can be extremely frustrating. And maybe I'm exaggerating by saying not no progress, but it's difficult to acquire a lot of progress in a small amount of time, whereas there are people who literally have had a BookTube channel for 3 or 4 months and all of a sudden they have 20,000 subscribers. It can be really frustrating, and I feel anyone's pain that's been there. And I won't even say, I always say, like, I also look at this too in a genre sense. I feel like individuals who are not primarily talking about YA also have a more difficult time maintaining a high subscriber count. And that's because I think that a lot of people who are watching YouTube have been drawn into the culture of reading YA, whereas there are individuals out here on BookTube that want to market things other than YA, whether that's adult books, whether that's nonfiction, whether that's cozy mysteries. And I actively seek those people out because they do have smaller followings than I think they really should have. But my experience has been one that has taught me a lot of patience, has taught me that this is really something that I'm passionate about, because even when I realized that my progress and growth was not going to be exponential and wasn't going to move as quickly as some other people, I was like, I'm still in it because I have all these wonderful people who have sought me out, who are subscribed to me, who do look forward to my content, who are the sweetest people in the world, and they are here to share one of my passions with me. And that's really important to me because I don't have a lot of friends necessarily, like in real life, outside of the cameras, that read. I mean, I have a lot of friends, but they're not readers. So sometimes conversations about books is a little bit more difficult, and it's like, I'm so passionate about books, but it's like they're not. So you can't really, if y'all are readers, you know that feeling you get when you're talking to somebody about a book and you both have read the book and you can kind of talk about what you liked and what you didn't like that connection. And for me, this is my connection, and this is what I love. This is what I'm passionate about. So it has taught me patience, and that this is really my passion, because had it not been my passion, it would have been so easy to give up right now. So very difficult. But I think one thing that I do want to tell people is that my experience has opened up doors for me to do other things. it's allowed me to connect with people. So while there have been negative aspects like channel growth, or when you see booktubers invited to conferences and special events hosted by these publishing companies, and you never see black booktubers there because we don't have the subscriber count that they need in order to say that we can make an impact on the literary community, or that we can influence people to buy certain things. Where in their marketing scheme, we're not there yet, but then what they don't realize is we want to be there. We're putting out content to be there, but unfortunately we don't get the viewership that our counterparts necessarily get. And I'm not sure why that is. I know that it happens, and as much as people like to deny that it doesn't exist and this is something that's made up and we're trying to make BookTube people seem bad, like, it's a hard cold fact. There are hundreds of black booktubers, and I actively search either for black booktubers, people of color, booktubers that do not make content about YA. Like, I love watching their channels because they offer a different perspective, a different lens and diversity to our community. But you can't sit here and tell me that their channels grow as fast as people who are white, female, and read YA. It's reality. That doesn't make them bad people. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them. It doesn't mean that they need to be attacked. It is just there. And I think a lot of it has to do with implicit bias. People are being biased, and they may not even intentionally, they may not be immersed in that implicit bias intentionally. It's something that's just there. It's just a natural preference. And when you start to look at things that way, you just keep pushing and striving. Like, one day I'm, gonna be able to sit in on one of those events that I see all these other booktubers going on, because my input is gonna matter. The market that would be watching me is gonna matter. So I always like to tell people who've commented on that video. So I have two videos, well, I actually have 4 major videos talking about stuff related to diversity on BookTube, being a black booktuber, conferences and events that don't really take into account black booktubers, or just booktubers of color, or booktubers that don't always talk about YA stuff. And also just BookTube, I think, in general, and it's just lack of diversity. That video is to this day, it's the most watched video on my channel. It is the one video that I feel like I get at least once or twice a week. I still get comments on that video. That video has hundreds of comments. And that video really sums it up in all what the experience is like. It's coming with that expectation that you can read other genres, you can look however you want, you can identify however you want, but naturally it just seems like your channel doesn't grow as fast. And I've grown accustomed to that. I have been on YouTube now consistently since 2016, that's about 2 years, and I am just now hitting 2.8 subscribers, 2.8, like 2,800 subscribers. And sometimes that can feel kind of defeating. It's like, sheesh, like, I worked so hard, and like, my goodness, like, I feel like I'm not reaching anybody. I'm not getting the opportunity to share my passion with anybody, and that's okay. For me, I'm grasping that it's not okay in the grander scheme of things. There is this disparity, and I'm not sure if there's a solution to fix it. I'm not sure, because at the end of the day, the community can see it, but how do we encourage our viewers to be open to seeing other faces? Because there are people who view our videos, y'all, that are not a part of this community. So you also have to take that into context, that there's a disparity when it comes to viewership. And it's not just us. But identifying the problem is the first step. Denying that there is a problem is not, I mean, you're choosing to be blind to an issue. Because if you look over time, you look at BEA, you look at BookCon, you look at Y'all Fest, those who were invited to speak, to do panels, to get first insight to authors and publishing companies, do not look like me. And I've grown accustomed, and I shouldn't have grown accustomed to that, but I will have my seat at the table one day. I put my hands on it. I'm saying that. We all will. But if you are interested, whether you're a minority or not, whether you're a person of color or not, whether you read YA or not, if you're interested in doing a BookTube channel just about poetry, if you're interested in doing a BookTube channel just about nonfiction, or maybe you're really into science fiction and fantasy, maybe you're really into translated works, do it. I'm tired of people commenting on my BookTube and lack of diversity and saying that the lack of diversity and the way in which they want to present their passion about reading is different from the masses is so heartbreaking. Like, whatever you want to do, if you have a passion for books, if you have a passion for whatever, you pick up your camera or whatever you have available to you and you create that video, and don't let intimidation change your mind about joining this community. And I think that that's where we need to really address issues, not just about, oh well, you know, the booktubers of color on here are not having a lot of viewership, or their channel's not growing. What about the booktubers who read different genres, who look different, who may identify different, who are amazing people, who have brilliant things to share, but they're too scared because they feel like they would be breaking the norm? The culture of BookTube is what needs to change. It needs to change. We need to be adamant about exposing more people than what we typically do. The same people, the same faces, the same names. It's got to grow past that. It's got to change, because if they're all reading the same books, publishing company just keep producing the same books for them to spew out. Their viewers are only going to read the same books. We're not opening doors for people to discover new things. That's what reading is for. And I think that by limiting and narrowing in ourselves and categorizing ourselves into this mold of what a booktuber should be like, and this is how you start a booktube channel, this is what you talk about, and these are the books that you buy, we're missing out on people. It doesn't matter. Like, if we are creating these boundaries, we're missing out on some great people. And I think from my personal experience, that's the most heartbreaking thing, is those voices that don't have the opportunity to speak out because of fear. So that's my experience. I love the friends and family that I've built on BookTube. And I'm thankful for each one of those 2,800 subscribers, because they keep me going. And when I feel like my life, my real world outside of this lens is falling apart, this is home for me. And I just don't like to see so much turmoil at home. So we got to get it together. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we got to get it together. All right, y'all. As always, if you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, click the subscribe button. As always, I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.